today when we talk about plants, we're going to talk dirty. I'm talking about what your plants wish you knew about soil, because I tell you what, when it comes to plant soil composition and understanding soil basics is so important. And they are basics. I think people get too stressed out about when they start working with plants about some of these things that, well, I got to learn so much, I'm just going to end up killing the plant. No, there's some basics that are pretty simple that we're going to go through here in this quick video. And everything here is not just my word for it. I have some great references in my blog, which is online at RxHealthyHabits.com. But on the blog, I'm going to post here in the video. It's going to have all the information about what I'm talking about. I'm going to leave out a lot of stuff that's in the blog because you can read about it. It's going to take too much time. I don't like long videos. So soil basics. Let's go through this real quick. It's going to be several factors of why you want to have a good soil. One's for nutrients, drainage, and aeration for your plants. And I think a lot of times people get confused. They think, well, I'm just going to get a pot and then throw some soil in it from outside and I'm all set. No, there might be some pests in there, some diseases, but also garden soil is just too heavy most of the time for indoor plants. That's just a fact. You have to buy potting mix. And a lot of people, they sometimes try to make that shortcut. Bad idea. What you're looking for is things that potting soil that contains a combination of peat moss, perlite, vermiculite for optimal water retention and drainage. And so many times, most of the time plants die, being overwatered, but also their soil is so dense that it doesn't allow for drainage and aeration. Soil pH, usually between 6 and 6.5. So I like it slightly acidic. Plants like slightly acidic soil most times. Specialized mixes, like, the mixture you're going to use for a ficus is going to be different than you make for succulents and cacti. And in my blog, I talk about just exactly that, some recipes for soil composition that you need to think about when you're going to go ahead and make your soil for your plants. Choosing the right pot, of course, you've heard this before. This is a big factor. So pots come in many different materials. Terracotta, they come in ceramic, they come in fiberglass, they come in plastic. Each has its own pros and cons. This is some of the references you might want to read up on, because terracotta is usually going to be good for maybe helping your plants not retain that moisture because they do absorb some of the moisture. And then, of course, ceramic and fiberglass are good for plants that, you want to retain some of that. So very important. Drainage holes typically are a good idea in most pots because of the fact that if you overwater, sometimes that's going to help drain that off. Size consideration. You always want to get something where it's going to allow your current root ball to expand. So if you go to repot, you want to go with something slightly bigger, allowing room for growth. And I think it comes down to this, and my wife's a big proponent of this when it comes to plants in her house. She wants the plant pot to also be aesthetically appealing. So that's going to be a factor when you go to have your pots is it look attractive? I like terracotta, but she's got many other varieties. So I go through and talk about soil and pot recommendations for 4 of the most common indoor plants: Pethos, philodendrons, succulents, cacti, ficus, and also peace lily. So in my blog, I talk about that. And usually it comes down to 4 factors: the soil, the pot, the size, and the tip. Just 1 or 2 tips to help you with that. And these recommendations are really going to help you pick out the best soil that you're going to need. Plus, there's recipes. These are DIY. You could do these yourself. You could buy some of these mixtures all made, but really easy. And God knows, out in my garage, I have a whole section of different things that my wife does to make these concoctions for her plants, and I am be the one that's end up cleaning up when she's done because it's kind of messy, but I have to make sure it gets done. But she also has those out there, and I says, well, once you got the plants, why do you keep this? She goes, well, I have to repot. And this is important to know. You have to repot your plants when you start, about a year and a half. You really should do it in the spring or summer, but it's time to repot when you see some of the roots coming out the bottom of the drain holes. But you always want to go a little bit bigger with the next pot, usually 1 or 2 inches bigger in diameter when you go to repot, because you want to give them room to grow. You want to give them a chance to really, to get bigger. So I guess what you really want to remember too, that every plant is kind of not unique, but you're going to learn that the way you treat succulents and cacti is different than the way you treat a rubber tree. So very important that, people that have spider plants, that those will be treated different also. So make sure you kind of pay attention to some of the care needs with the soil, the pot, the watering. It's so vital. But many people who start out, they really get too anxious about the soil part. It's really not that hard. So until next video, keep on growing and keep on learning just a little bit more, and your plants are going to love it. God bless.